Okay, we are live.
We're back.
Welcome back, guys.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the first to say hello this year?
Oh, come on. It's got to be Phil.
Go on.
Surely.
Phil, or is David on tonight? Let's see. I'll be interested to see if we get some of the old guys back in to see us. So it is David. David, well done.
Yeah, in there, David. Well done. Star.
Well, guys, so happy New Year to everyone. Happy Burns night. Happy birthday. Happy, what else? Was there anything?
Just happy life.
Happy Dry January, or happy Triannuary, whatever we're on to now. Welcome back, and to our Blethers. Good evening, Phil. Yeah, superb.
David's been in training, Phil. David's been in training, so you're going to have to up your game a wee bit here.
Well, hopefully, I was just saying before we came on, hopefully you've all been over to see the Dramful guys. They're launching their Jim McEwen Journey's End 2 at 7 o'clock today. So it's probably all gone now. So if you haven't, I'll say unlucky, but hopefully you can still get some. So if you have, great. Let us know that if you got any luck with that. The Dramful guys have been big help to us and with some events. So I'll wish them all the best.
I agree, Tobias, completely.
Are you crazy? Yeah. Well, some say it helps. Hopefully, you guys as well who are joining us, some of you might have picked up our Blether pack, which will help you join in. So we've got a couple of special Glen Scotias in there. So for those who are joining us who have got that, we're really keen for you to let us know what you think. And we'll bring Iain in a second to talk more about the drams and get you involved. So let us know your thoughts of which one you got. We sent out two at random. One was the Master Distillers edition, and the other one was the Warehouse Man's edition. So two different whiskies out there for the Glen Scotia slot. So don't drink all 6 drams in the pack tonight. That's not what it's for. Yeah, as tempting as it might be.
If you want, but you'll have nothing for next week. So
you can. Yeah.
So your mum used to say when you got your selection pack on Christmas Day, feed them all now. You've got nothing for tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea, of the packs is that you've got a dram, 1 dram per guest for 4 weeks, and then 2 extras. So hopefully you enjoy the extras. There are a couple of shop exclusives from us. And again, have one of them once you finish your Scotia, and let us know what you think. So I suppose, will we get Iain in?
I think we probably should.
I remember last time it was a
nobody's here to see us, Mike, for sure. So
yeah, I was just thinking the longer we put him off coming in, the longer it's going to be at the other end. So yeah, as you said, nobody's here to see us. We're all here to see and chat to Iain. So let's bring him in. Always a moment of truth. Good evening, Iain. How are you?
I'm good, guys. I'm good. Yourselves?
Fantastic.
Good.
Yep.
I'm so glad you kept up the beard for the Santa chat as well. I'm just absolutely gutted we couldn't get that going.
It's hanging on in there well. It really is. My goodness, that's partly down to my dear wife, I've got to say. So yeah, it's here. Looks like it's here to stay. So
okay.
There we go.
Good stuff. Well, I gave mine a wee trim. It was getting a bit bushy, but it's almost gone now. I didn't realise how much it took off. But anyway,
it's funny when the better half gets used to it and kind of likes it, and then you get really itchy and you shave it off one day, and they're like, "No, grow that back right now."
I know.
That's when they forget how ugly you actually are. You're all covered with hair.
That's what I did during the summer. I think it must have been August time. I says, nah, I can't be doing with this, and Shelley says, Stuart, and she took it off, and then it was off for about a week, and I think it was Archie in the stills. I came in, it must have been a Friday morning or that, and he says, you look totally different, and that kind of, right, okay, it's back on again, so back on, that's it. Here to stay.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. That's so it should.
And what a year for you, 2021.
Yeah, Aye. I mean, yeah. Thanks, guys. Aye, it's been amazing, isn't it? And it's great to see the the old place doing so well. It's been. To be honest with you, I don't think it's a year we're ever going to repeat. Done the double. It's like the cup and the league together, isn't it? It's the whiskey of the year, and
Oh God, don't do us in Johnston for Christ's sake. It looks like they're going to get relegated. So don't.
Well, that's always the danger. There's only one way to go now, and that's it. So, no, and same with yourselves. Congratulations to yourselves, obviously.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yourselves.
Brilliant. As you say, hopefully the only way is up. But we'll see how we get on. Yeah. I mean, I was at the awards at the Balmoral for the. And the amount of times that your name was up on the screen, or Glen Scotia's name was up on the screen, was incredible. It was, great to see. Great to see.
As and it's not that long ago, as I say, when you come in here, pre-2008, it was, you think that's impossible, and obviously it was probably impossible at that time, but it's amazing, and I think it shows you the power of the consumer, really, because I think that's where the power lies. They obviously they don't realize the power that they have, and they obviously control a lot, and that's exactly how we're at this stage where the distillery's at presently. So yeah, it's great to see. It really is. It's fantastic, and I'm totally, as I say, humbled by the whole experience. The whiskey went to the Whiskey Awards, and it was actually, it's the first awards I've ever been to. So it was wonderful experience, and there was so many different groups there, and great atmosphere, and so it was good. It's good. So.
You see, it's down to the consumer, but I mean, ultimately, people aren't going to buy something that's not very good. And I think Tobias has kind of come in here with just exactly my thought that, Glen Scotia and Arran are, I mean, I don't drink a lot of Arran, so I'm not so familiar with that. I know there's a huge fan base, but for me, Glen Scotia is a great example of a distillery that you don't have to try before you buy. You see a bottle, you just pick it up. You know it's going to be good. So it's not one of these to think, oh gosh, I should maybe do a tasting with one of those to see what it's like. And your money's safe when you pick up a bottle of Glen Scotia. And I think that's the thing. It's not, consumers, fair enough, but consumers will only buy what they know is good.
Yeah, it's true. It is true, Russell. I think really that you should, absolutely. I would expect that if I was working at a distillery, I would expect that as taken for granted. That everything, or pretty much everything you think is at a reasonable standard. Everything's not going to be brilliant. That's just not going to happen. But it should be a reasonable standard. So hopefully, if you are at that standard, then it should have as you say, it should obviously help for sure. I seen it in the early days. In the early days at Glen Scotia, when I started here, people, when it was just the three of us here, myself, Davey, and Jim. Davey's actually working tonight, but you would get the die-hard fans that would rock up at the gate, and they would be from potentially Germany, Holland, Belgium, places like that. Yeah, and they would know so much about Glen Scotia. They would have a real passion for the place. And that's what really, kind of, it really kind of. From the early days, it really put that thought in my mind. How important visitors and such like were. So, and it's
give you some encouragement.
It did really. It did really. It's been wonderful journey, a unique journey for sure. Never ever repeated before. So, again, because it was obviously when I started. It was obviously the whiskey industry, even my short time here, has changed so much. So yeah, wonderful. It really is.
For me, there's also something about these old distilleries, these historic distilleries that have kind of found a new life or have kind of been reborn. That's a great story. There's lots of really good new distilleries on the go now, and they're doing fantastic things. But my heart's much more with the guys that have been around and maybe fallen in hard times that are starting to show new life and getting going. And
yeah,
I think that's a bigger and better story for me.
It is, and I think it's fantastic to see, in a lot of these distilleries, and it's same with Glen Scotia. Don't get me wrong, a lot of the production here was variable, to say the least. It was up, down, all over the place, but that's not a distillery's fault. It's just how it was run, specifically run by, the management, the senior management, the distillery manager, whatever at that time. So it's great to see that a renaissance, really is a huge renaissance, even in Campbelltown itself, you can see Campbelltown really, that there's not enough Campbelltown to feed Scotland, never mind the world. So it's remarkable. And it wasn't that many years ago, Glen Scotia, you're trying to sell Glen Scotia whiskies, double cask, the core ranges, etc. Where it was hard work. It was hard work for the sales team. It was hard work for these guys. obviously trying to get it out there and spread the word. But now we're struggling at the distillery to keep stock. So it shows you, obviously, success brings its own problems, I guess. So.
Well, indeed. Yeah. And does it feel like that?
What are the?
Sorry, on you go, Mike.
I was going to ask about the success and the kind of the growth of the distillery. Has seen the harbour release for the kind of supermarket kind of side of things. See Glen Scotia. Is it the Harbour edition? Harbour, Campbellton Harbour, I think it's called. Is it something like that we're now seeing as a great entry level? So you're now getting people. A lot of guys who are only supermarket whiskey drinkers, and they have that great range in there that they kind of stick to. You're now a name on that shelves, which will hopefully introduce people to a Glen Scotia at a different level, and then hopefully get them into the more, not so much extravagant, but the more kind of unique, or the slightly higher ABVs and the more luxurious kind of side of Glen Scotia. So, and that's obviously a sign of the success and demand for Glen Scotia as well.
I think so, Mike. I think it's absolutely. It's something that is, it's another entry route, isn't it? And it's for the type of whiskey. The Campbelltown Harbour, a great example. It's obviously quite a young whiskey. It's potentially suited to that outlet. Where, in the supermarkets, wherever they may be. And I think it works quite well. As I say, the type of whiskey it is, and probably, if you were buying a whiskey in the supermarket, then if you happened upon Glen Scotia and you didn't know Glen Scotia, then hopefully you'd be pleasantly surprised by it, and it would work for you. So, it's good. It's good. It's again, as they say, everything's tight though. Obviously we're it's in demand, as I say, which is good, and hopefully that'll continue. So it's and the single casks, etc. Glen Scotia single casks. They really they do well. They're popular and such like. So brilliant. It really is brilliant. And as I say, it's can only thank guys like yourself and everyone else. Because for me, that's what it's all about. It really is. It's as I say, I've seen where the place was. And I've been in here when, as I say, and I think I mentioned it before, probably yourself. I had the discussion with my boss at the time many moons ago, where it was. I must have been trying my hand at sales, looking at different avenues of selling Glen Scotia when there wasn't really an interest. This was well before the Loch Lomond Group. There wasn't an interest at all, and I can remember asking them, about, the sales strategy as it was at that time, and he says, "Well, Iain, there's no real sales strategy. We run the place." And if we're lucky, we'll maybe bottle a cask a year. That's about it. So that's what it was at. And that wasn't that long ago. It's quite remarkable. where we're at now. It's good. It really is good.
What was it like going home that day that you got that kind of scintillating positive?
Well, do you know what? I can still mind the day too. I can still mind. It was up where the shop is. That's where my office used to be, where the visitor centre is for anyone that's ever been there. And I can always mind Googling the Co-op in Manchester, believe it or not. And that's actually true. That's true. So there was. I must have been looking for the spirit spire of the Co-op.
Okay. I said, you weren't looking for a job in the Co-op in Manchester like that.
Well, maybe I thought that too, actually. You know, that's the thing. So, but yeah, that wasn't that long ago. You know, that's the way it was. You know, and that's what you were up against. So, you know, as I say, it's testament to, you know, everyone. It's obviously had a hand in the rise of Glen Scotia.
Absolutely, but it's sitting in the Co-op in Aberhurder just now, so it's certainly stretched far and wide.
Well, that's good. That's good. It really is. It's good, and it's good. It's not even a Glen Scotia story. You know, I think it's a story of, you know, there's such a passion for whiskey. You know, that you see all over, which is fantastic, and it's yourselves. You know, it's obviously retailers, it's distilleries, many new distilleries you're seeing. So, and I think that's great to see, and it's worldwide. You know, it's absolutely everywhere, and it's brilliant industry, absolutely fantastic industry. It really is.
There's a few guys with looking for a dram.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. We've got Alan Moyer, who's he's been joining in, and he's one of the first to buy one of the Blether packs that we have. So we have in there the warehousemen, and some have got the master distillers. So Alan, the idea of the Blether pack is to give you a wee taste of what all our guests produce. So this tonight's dram, you've got the warehouseman there, which I think is a 12-year-old, 12, just shy of 13-year-old Glen Scotia single cask. So the idea of these is to have a wee taste. Let us know what you think, and let us know if any of you guys have got the master distillers, what your thoughts on these drams are. So it's not so much the packs aren't really tasting. It's not like a tutor tasting where we're not going to go down that route with it. It's just so that you've got an example of Glen Scotia whiskey, so you can have a wee drop of it. And Iain was very kind to send us these couple of samples for Christmas, which was it certainly ranked up in my favourite Christmas presents that we got this year.
Absolutely.
I've literally just poured the warehouseman there, so this is my first time trying it.
Yeah,
and
I've got the distillers, guys. If anybody's got that one, I'm not drinking mine tonight. I have had a taste of it already. It's fantastic. Unfortunately, I've got a wee bit of allergy, so I'm on the lilt tonight. Totally tropical taste, but there you go. It's it's not the kind of tropical notes I was looking for.
We've got some nice tropical fruits coming through here as well. Yeah.
It's beautiful. It really is, and I hope you get better soon, Russell. It's no nice.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm sure I'll be fine.
No, as I
say,
the
way for Saturday. You're driving the tour bus on Saturday.
I'm driving on Saturday. I've got a tour on Saturday. So.
Oh, where are you going, Russell? Where are you off to?
Strathisla. So it's a stag do. So taking them up to Strathisla for the blending experience. They've got quite a unique. They've got like a pack of a few of their kind of different sort of makes, if you like. So there's like a bourbon, a sherry, a peaty one, and so they give you the pack and in the kind of tasting room or the blending room, I guess it is. You've also got a small test tube, so the guys make up their own wee blend, and share each other's blends and what have you, and then they have to go home with their pack to kind of have as much fun as they want with the wee pack. So it's quite a nice idea actually.
That's brilliant. That sounds excellent, doesn't it?
So then I'm going to take them on a mystery tour of Speyside. So I'm sure I'll manage a few drams out of my back pocket somewhere and stop at some nice beauty spots and have a nice wee day out. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. As I say, that's what it's all about. Something different. And when you can do that and you can obviously engage with the whiskey, then it's brilliant, you know, and getting a chance to do something like that is obviously, I would even enjoy that, you know, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. No, that'd be cool. we'll take it. We'll get Tony to drive.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Poor Tony gets allocated a lot of driving duties when she's on the go.
She does. She does.
That's what I was going to. Do you know, I've never actually been up Speyside. Never been up that
really?
way. No, never. So there you go. It's something I actually need to do, you know. So I need to get out and about a bit.
It's one of these incredible areas that you're just driving along and it's like, oh, there's a Thrust, there's Glen Talkers, oh, there's Glen Spey, there's Glen Alky, there's, you know, all you're doing is passing and pointing at distilleries as you go. It's just fantastic. It really is. Just everywhere.
It's amazing, isn't it? You know, and it must be so busy up there in the summer, I guess. You know, there must be so much going on, and you know, obviously,
there's
not just tourists, but you've also got. I mean, like today, I nipped up to the Maltons today, but there's lorries full of barley, you know, either unmalted or malted, just continually back and forward. You've got the container lorries with all the liquid on the go all the time as well. You've got the freighters with full of casks.
Yes.
So the roads are as busy with lorries transporting all the stuff all the time as well. Which you forget about that side of the industry.
Yes.
You know?
We actually I just get this today.
Oh, yep.
So this is medium peated.
Okay.
Smell that.
I wish I could.
Lovely. So that's
I wish. Yeah.
Lovely. So nice. So that's the first peated of the season. So we'll do two loads of medium peated and 2 loads of heavily peated this year, and that'll keep the peaty stock up a wee bit. So yeah, more for the Campbelltown Harbour and such like. So that's it. So
Where does that come down from?
That comes from Glenesk, Montrose.
Okay. Yeah.
So I've used them 15 years now. So it's been quite a while. So never ever changed. You know, always use them for peated and unpeated. And it's, you know, it's great stuff. You know, even I think I've got one that's unpeated, but I had one there with the grist in it. Yeah, I mean, it's great stuff. Absolutely wonderful stuff. You know, it's really works well. Obviously, with everything else at Glen Scotia, you know, the fermentation and the team obviously are huge, because it's that hands-on. You know, there's obviously you're relying on the guys, the skill, and that's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. You know, every one of them's brilliant. So it works, yeah. So it's one of these things you never really change. And actually, this discussion last night with the guys in Sweden, you know, they were going through different casks with Johan Anderson, 5 or 6 different casks, you know, and chatting about Glen Scotia and such like, and the new make spirit. And he says, obviously, different new make spirit. I says, no. He says, the new make spirit, this stays as it is. Absolutely peated. We can look at the different cut points, etc. But we tend to just keep it as it is, because you know it works so well. You know, it obviously gives you a brilliant start, whether it's in bourbon, whether it's peated in bourbon, whether it's going into PX, you know, whether it's, you know, you're finishing it or whatever. You know, it just so yeah, it's quite amazing. It really is, and it's as I say, you know.
We've got Gary Patterson is popping in with Victoriana was his first experience of cask strength whiskey. Still thinks it's one of the best value on the go. Sweet dram, great level of smoky character. That's what I think. It's just that underlying smoke that people like about it, isn't it? There's enough there, and it's not a medicinal peat. It's just got that kind of fruity smokiness to it, and that's what I'm getting in waves on this one. It's peat, but I wouldn't call it a peaty whiskey, if that makes sense.
No, that's right. I mean, that I think that's the beauty of Glen Scotia, and that's what I love about Glen Scotia, and I think it's really important for Campbelltown in general. I think potentially Campbelltown whiskies can be, you know, they can be robust. They sometimes can be a bit dirty. You know, they can be, you know, they've got that oily, robust dirtiness, you know, that kind of real Campbelltown essence about them. And also, I think it's important is potentially that peats or smoke, if you want to call it, Mike, as you say, you know, that element running through them, a sinew running through there, I think is wonderful. You know, I think that just enhances it. It's no Islay by any shape or stretch of the imagination. It's just Campbelltown. You know, it's got that background, which is, you know, is
Absolutely.
works.
It's one of the few products in the world, I think it probably relates to Campbelltown whiskey more than any, where you can get tasting notes or smells of kind of burnt rubber and baby sick and all this, but it's a complimentary thing. You know, it's but I like it. You know, it's weird, you know, overcooked fruits and things like that, but it's all enjoyable experience. If you wrote it down and handed it to somebody who wasn't a Campbelltown or was it a whiskey fan, and says, "Would you enjoy eating or drinking something with those qualities of flavour?" And you'd be like, "What is this?"
I know. That's absolutely it's spot on. You know, absolutely spot on. You know, and I think it's, you know, I think Glen Scotia is slightly at the lighter end of the spectrum. You know, Campbelltown is an amazing place. You know, and obviously there's so much diversity, even at the present time with the distilleries you've got. But I think a lot of the Glen Scotia, potentially a lot of the modern Glen Scotias, more so, you know, they're slightly more accessible to the many, you know, so they're flavour driven, and that flavour driven slightly overtakes that robustness ever so slightly, but yet there's still all these elements in there. There's still the Campbelltown DNA, that funkiness, that dirtiness is still there, but you're getting something. If you're not potentially a fan of Campbelltown whiskies and they're a bit overbearing for you, then you're still getting that wonderful flavour profile, which obviously is helping with the whiskey, I think.
Definitely, yeah.
It definitely is that. Silage is a Ben Romich is a whiskey for me that just reeks of silage. But when you try and sell that as a tasting note to your average punter, it's not a kind of really positive one. But you know, whiskey drinkers, as soon as you mention silage, they're like, "Oh, what one's that?" They've been, "Oh, you've not tried that? Oh, there's lots and lots of. Oh yeah, I'll give that a go," because we know what that kind of means. It's that kind of farmyard kind of note that is. But there's a sweetness to it. There's that kind of sweetness they get with the fermented silage. But yeah, you're still, as you say, you're still getting all those fruits underneath. You're getting the orchard fruits or the tropical notes. You're getting all that kind of coming through as well. It's just with that element of funk, as we like to say.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's important. I think, whatever the area was, whether it's Islay, whether it's Speyside, or whether it's Campbelltown, I think it's really important that you've still got that identity. I think you need the identity, and I think that's incredibly important. I think it's helpful. It's helpful. It's helpful for the brand if you can identify, with obviously the region, specifically. So,
you find that that's becoming a bit more blurred now, because we now have heavily peated Speysides, we have unpeated Islas, and the like. Is there a shift away from traditional regional kind of character and kind of forgoing that for more cask maturation character with different styles of cask and things like that? Because we certainly see kind of when we take lessons on, so we do the Whiskey Ambassador course, and it's like we always talk about the character of Speyside being kind of sweet and floral and slightly fruity, Highland being more robust and things. But certainly the new distilleries are kind of coming up with different ways or different styles within themselves. Do you think that's something that's going to continue, or?
I think, Mike, I think it's very generic. I think it's very generic. The regionality for sure. I think to cover every distillery with that same generic aspect is it's probably never happened, to be fair. As I say, you get different periods in time. Absolutely. And Glen Scotia is a prime example, how it was run, through the last, when you go back 50, 60 years, at different periods of ownership, at different periods of how it was managed, and invariably different periods of different standards of quality. So that all really had a huge bearing on the regionality, for sure. I think really, nowadays, if you look at nowadays, I think probably more so people are trying to identify with certain aspects of the regionality, but yeah, as you say, they're trying to put a twist on it, a spin on it, and potentially make it their own. If you do get peat and Speyside, wonderful. If it works with the type of whatever it is, the distillery they've got, then all these aspects, if they come together, make a wonderful whiskey. So,
I suppose that's the bottom line. Is as long as the whiskey tastes good, it's
yeah, absolutely.
It's got to be a challenge for distilleries who don't usually use peat, though, because you've got some big deep clean to do after you've done a peated run to continue with your normal. I mean, I know Tomatin, for example, they always do their peated run just before their big deep clean in the winter. That kind of makes sense. But it would have to tie in with something like that, unless you had different stills or different machinery. And then that changes the character altogether. That's basically a different distillery.
Well, that's right, Russell. I mean, that's what I mean. It's very, very hard to, and probably there'll only be a few, real distilleries really can identify, for a long, long period of time. Springbank's obviously been the same ownership, and obviously quite a few others, up with yourselves, Speyside and whatever. So, I mean, these distilleries, absolutely, they can go back quite a number of years and identify with what they're producing. But whether they were producing exactly as they do today, or, the new make is exactly as it is produced today, I'm not so sure. I think it's really, really difficult. Knowing what I know about Glen Scotia and how easy it is to just tweak and manipulate, then it's something that could subtly change very, very easily, and does.
Yeah, because Russell and I went to, during the Speyside Festival, went to Altmore Distillery and had because that's somewhere that's not open to the public, but one day a year they open and do a couple of tours. And it kind of opened my eyes a wee bit to that tweaking, because you look at the stills and you think they're going to create a certain type of spirit, but it's completely opposite due to slow boil. So you think this is going to be quite a heavy, robust, kind of meaty spirit, kind of similar to a Macallan kind of thing, but it's really light and fragrant because it's a lower temperature and they take a long time to boil. And I think in general you're kind of taught that short, fat, heavy stills will give a robust spirit, and tall, thin, narrow stills will give a light spirit. But even within the still size, there's still that manipulations that can happen with temperatures and timings and all that kind of thing. So it's not quite as set in stone as we're maybe led to think first of all.
No, it's not, and it's far from it. Obviously, again, it's a bit like the regionality. You get quite generic, and it's far from as simple as that. You could absolutely, look at all the stills and say short stills, heavy spirit. And it's to say the degree of the angle of riposte, if you like, of the line arm. Yeah, and absolutely, things like that's got a huge bearing on it. But it's really the only way really to get the whole picture is, is the whole process. As I say, the malted barley is even how you grind that, how long your type of wort you've got. Is it cloudy? Is it clear? Fermentation time, blah, 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 right through. So there's so much to it. And if only it was as simple as just, I use wooden washbacks or I've got a long still, then it would be a lot easier to understand. I'm still trying to understand, and I've been here 15 years, so, and
we were fortunate to meet Gordon Steele when we went down to the Edinburgh Whisky Academy gosh, how long was it? Almost 3 years ago now, before the world changed crazy.
Well, it'll be 3 years. 3 years in March, because it was the weekend before lockdown, wasn't it?
And he was talking about a lot of the work that he used to do was fine tuning distilleries.
Yes.
So he would go in, and you just imagine this guy getting in with tuning forks and kind of, trying. But literally, that was literally what he was doing, just tweaking bits and bobs along the way to get the spirit style they were looking for, I guess, and
yes,
help them with that. Yeah,
that's the difficult bit. That is the difficult bit. As I say, it does take a long time. I mean, 2000. I was probably about 2008, 9, 10, be 10 anyway. So 4 years, more or less 4 years. Just trying to get it where it had to be.
And I suppose as well, it's the length of time to know how your tweaks have worked, because
yes,
because you've got 3 years in the cask anyway. You're not going to know. I suppose you could tell the difference in the spirit.
Raw spirit,
coming out of the new make spirit, but how does that interact with the wood is the next. So you could be doing something. I suppose any experiment is at least a minimum 3-year kind of trial before you know.
Yep.
God,
that's right. That's right. Absolutely. And it's
rabbit hole and a half.
Exactly.
That's why distillery workers drink. It's the only thing that's going to keep them safe.
That's it. Kills the pain of the daily routine. That's it. But
we've got a couple of a couple of questions, a couple of comments. Alistair Gray is very complimentary about the calendar drinks release. Glen Scotia took out last year. A couple of questions. Phil Dixon is asking if you've got any exciting different maturations in the warehouse at the moment.
They're all exciting, Phil. They're all exciting.
Yeah.
Like different is the specification here, different, because I see Robertson's and Pitlochry have just launched their Kilchoman tequila cask. Do you have any tequilas in the warehouse?
No, see, it's what we were talking about there earlier. It's a lot of regionality. So it's I'm pretty we're obviously trying to keep in sync with that Campbelltown story, so the type of casks that we've been using Campbelltown and such like. So yeah, undoubtedly things like that will come, but at the moment it's keeping it quite traditional. And
so sometimes there's a bit of if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yes, absolutely. And that's.
Would you go to the lengths of, so you hear stories about, over the years, the stills getting dented and stuff like that, and then when they get replaced, distillery managers insisting that the dents and the new ones are put in the same place. I mean, do you hold any stock with that?
I'm quite superstitious at times, to be honest with you, but I'm a realist, and unfortunately, no. It's obviously there's a certain.
Iain
runs a tight ship. He's not going to let anyone dent his stills. Come on.
No. There's no dents in my stills.
I'll change the still if it's got a dent in it. No, I don't think so. I think obviously the element of reflux and obviously the still operation wouldn't really be affected by dent. To be fair, potentially a dent would actually help, so it's obviously giving it a slightly more, slightly more. So yeah, so no, I wouldn't if I had a dent in the still, you'd need to be a big dent before I would put another one back in again.
We've got another question from Tobias, who I'm not sure if you remember, but Tobias, you took round in a private tour back in 2019. Not only the 1989 cask sample you gave him was amazing, but also the Campbelltown Festival bottles have made a permanent guest on his whiskey shelf. But he's asking the question, the Glen Scotia Festival bottlings have been amazing during the last couple of years. Have you ever thought about doing something like a fraternal twins double bottling? So combining a vat of two sister casks for 3 years and then separating them into two very different casks for the rest of the maturation, and then bottling them at the same age.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, it's some of the casks are vatted, and we're lucky enough to have a cooperage at Lochloman, so we can do a lot, the different casks we've got, it's obviously in a daily routine. I'm filling medium char, I'm filling refill, I'm filling first fill bourbon, and that's unpeated at that stage. So we're all looking at different aspects. As I say, you know, we tend not to get too carried away, you know, because as Russell said, you know, if it ain't you know, if it ain't broken, don't fix it kind of attitude. And I'm still, you know, every year it goes on, every festival I get to, I says, right, what am I going to do this year? And I says, right, there's not much I can do, exactly as Tobias says. Let's do something complicated and quite interesting.
For me, what Tobias has mentioned there, it's a bit like this. Can't remember the guys' names, but the bottle is called Na Brethren, which is the brothers, and they typically have. So I bought the Glencadam two bottles. So there's always 2 bottles, and what they'll do is they'll let's say they separate them into different casks. So they'll leave one to continue to mature in bourbon, and then maybe stick the second one into a rechar or something like that, and then you get the different notes from the different, and then they'll bottle them at the same time, and it's great.
So that's
the most recent one I think was a Glen Tochers. I think they've had a Linkwood. I think they've done a Lejig as well. So, but for me, that's an indie bottling. It's a kind of almost a USP kind of thing, and I think the guys that are doing it's fantastic. I don't know that a distillery would kind of want to go down that road, because it sounds like a lot of work when you've already got a lot of work to do, you know.
I think you're right, Russell. You know, it's something that is kind of unique, you know, and you know, you do get similar, you know, there's similar aspects to it, you know, even working with, you know, as I say, as a small scale vatting where it involved, you know, a bit of, you know, heavily charred casks or other types of casks, you know, different aspects like that, you know, where you're obviously bringing together different flavours potentially in that flavour profile. But yeah, I mean, probably something like that, you know, is sounds wonderful. It really does, you know, but it's pretty much geared for, you know, that, as you say, small indie bottler, really, you know, whether, you know, because it sounds really nice.
It's great, and it always the last. I bought the first 2 because I was still at a point where I wasn't really caring what I'm spending. But now I'm in a heavy embargo, so every time I see them, I go, "Oh God, it's another bloody pair of bottles I can't buy." So, but they look fantastic. The pair of Glen Tochers looked fantastic.
You got paid yesterday. I saw the embargo surely lifted.
Oh God, no. No, it'll be a month or two yet, maybe.
Yeah, that's it. But no, we as I say, just try and keep it as simple as possible. You know, that's it.
I'm just going to show the guys. So if you got the Warehouseman's edition, that was an American oak, and then a finish in Oloroso.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah. First of all, Oloroso. How long was it in the Oloroso? Do you know?
That would have been in. I think that was 2017, wasn't it? It was bottled in 2018.
August 18. August 18. It was bottled.
So 2017. So just about a year, just more or less a year there. Yeah. So yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. What a dram! Really, really good dram.
If you got the distiller's bottle there?
I've got yes, I do.
I can't remember what was in it.
So this is a full hoggy. So this is from December 2002. You haven't got a bottling date on here.
No. When was that bottled? That was bottled. I think it's in the sleeve actually. January.
I was going to say I think it's on the carton, isn't it? It's not on here.
Yeah. January 20. So yeah, I mean that's just refill, and as I say, the beautiful thing about that is, you know, that's what I love, you know, because you're really getting the distillery character coming through there.
Yeah. The nose on that one's phenomenal. I mean,
it's a lot sweeter than the Warehouseman.
Yeah. As I say, you don't need nothing else required with that. You know, cask like that, and it's out of say it's got refill American oak hogshead, so it's, you know, it's obviously a reconstituted American oak barrel, which is obviously built into a hoggy, and it's I love it. As I say, simple, no faffing, Glen Scotia. You know, that's
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like you said, that's all you need. So if you are at home and you're sitting and you're wondering how you can get to try them, are they still available from the distillery? Can you get them online, or is it distillery only?
It's just at the distillery, but I'm quite sure, if you speak nice to Hannah in the shop, we can work something out, So yes,
Okay.
Yeah. So.
There you go. So if Hannah's in a bad mood on Monday, it's because she's had to deal with hundreds of phone calls from people over the weekend.
You said what?
But we do have so these bottles are they were gifted to us for you guys at home. So give us a shout and we can get these samples as part of the Blether pack to you. So these will be part of the Blether pack up until next Thursday, and then we'll kind of do a 2-week flip over. So we'll be into March's Blethers for that. So you've got another week to go to buy the packs where you can get a sample of these guys in there.
David's going to be down soon, so he's going to give you a shout.
Mm.
David needs lots more whiskey. He's hardly got any in the house just now, so that's sarcasm. That's he said laced with heavy sarcasm.
Just bloody sent him a box of whiskey.
Cheers, David.
Ian's
this one's got
about
a bit more of a coastal kind of note to it for me. This one, the older, the 18-year-old.
Yeah,
but it's really lovely, sweet, kind of caramelized sugar.
I as I say, I just love it because sometimes, absolutely, the finishes are fantastic. They really work well, but sometimes it's good just to get back to basics, and strip off all the different elements and, just appreciate a Glen Scotia. And sometimes refill, you get a lot of first fill bourbons for sure, which are wonderful. But yeah, just to get something that's, it's not heavily charred, it's not first fill, it's just that refill American oak. Beautiful cask.
And it's held that percentage really well as well. Still quite high for an older whiskey at 57%.
Yeah, it has, and it's quite remarkable actually. And funny thing was, I was looking at, I think it was at the shop. Yeah, it was the next one I'm looking for the shop. I don't know if I've got it there. I have. And that's, that's lovely. So that's the next one I'm going to do in the shop. It's going to be a ruby port. This is a festival, for the distillery festival. I'm not telling you that. So that strength, and I thought when I took this, when I looked at the strength, I said, wow, that's incredibly low. But it really works well. It's wonderful whiskey. And sometimes it's quite hard to explain the relationship between the whiskey and the cask, because you could have, as you well know, everybody knows, obviously cask, sister cask, brother cask, whatever, it's side by side. Some of them, the reaction's totally different to the wood, and the strength in that one just totally dropped. It dropped very quickly seems to be from more or less the time it was filled. And I took it and put it in it's actually in a finishing cask. So just what I was just saying there a minute ago, just totally disregard that, even with the master distiller's edition and stripping back basics. Anyway, it was in a finishing cask, and it really, really worked well. Really, really wonderful. And the strength, I think, really had a big part in that. So, as I say, every day is a school day. You're always learning. You're always trying to understand exactly what that relationship was there. It made that so unique and special. So yeah, it's good. It's good. Interesting. It really is, guys.
Yeah. And what cask was that in the festival one?
Well, I'm not going to tell you exactly.
I tried.
But the next one for the shop, as I say, is going to be a ruby port, and that will be the tawny port. So that should be with us in a few weeks or whatever. But yeah.
So the Tawny Port Festival from, what was it, 2 years ago now? Was fantastic. I've had 3 bottles of that. I managed to find 2 in a wee shop in Stonehaven, and they emptied their shelf there. So I couldn't believe there was still some around, because they'd been gone from everywhere for such a long time. And I was just I was just scrolling one night, and it's one of those times when
I
you
think
just have
that's
to buy. Yeah,
it's a dying art. There is going to shops and finding these hidden gems, because people are so quick and so alert to be at it. If it's not going online, then it's people are in the shop straight away looking for it. It's I think our longest lasting one would have been the Rassay. I think because we got a second batch of the Rassay inaugural, and I did say it to anyone. There was no email announcement or anything. We just said, just stick it on the shelf. We'll see how long it lasts. And it was about 10 days, but it was.
It's a long time in whiskey.
It's a long time. Yeah.
Well, that's right, and that's, as you say, everyone's that switched on, because it's, you used to get certain bottles that seem to be gathering dust, but if you seen that nowadays, you would be, I need to get that one. That looks interesting,
And if you do have a couple of hidden ones, as soon as somebody buys it, there's a photo and it's put on Facebook, and it's everyone's like, yeah, it's there. They've got it.
That's everyone's after it, and they're going for it. Absolutely, it's.
For us, it's good. It's a good problem in a lot of the way, because you want to sell whiskey, obviously. But I think me and Russell had the conversation with the guys at Glen Scotia. We were up visiting them on Tuesday, and it's nice to actually sell a bottle physically, hand the bottle to somebody and say, "This is what it tastes like. This is what to have that interaction."
I think you should buy this because
yes.
There's so many bottles out there, you just don't get a chance to do that because. There's no point because they're all gone. The people just buy them. So you actually don't get that opportunity to say, "I think you should buy this because."
And maybe some of the bottles they're buying for the wrong reason. As they say.
Maybe.
Have to be careful what you say there. The wrong reason, or a different reason, or their own reason. Yeah.
It's the same thing you do with beer mats in the pub, isn't it? What was that you used to do with the beer mats in the pub? Yeah. You can't remember what you call that. Yeah, that's right.
You spent a lot of time in the pub too, Russell. Good.
Yeah. Well, listen, I've got to tell you a story. We were in when you were allowed to go on holiday and stuff. That dim and distant past. I think it was the early 1800s. We were in Sorrento on holiday, Rachel and I, and we just happened to meet. Really funny night actually. Started off by we found a little wee sort of bistros past one of these little places. You'd stand outside and queue. You couldn't book a table. And the barmaid or the waitresses literally didn't speak to you until you were sitting down, and then they were like your best friend. So we went there almost every night. But this one night we saw a place that looked quite good, and we thought we should try that. It looks really good write-ups. But we were sitting like half an hour waiting for our starter, which kind of came and we kind of ate it, and then another 40 minutes, and there was no sign of the main course. So we just said to the guy, listen, we're going, we'll pay for the starter. He completely fell out with us, like, and I said, well, I'm not paying for anything then. If that's what you're going to say. He was like, no, get out, and kind of literally threw us out of the restaurant. So we just headed off to the pub. The pub is called the Mannequin Piss. The wee statue, the guy in Copenhagen. And there's a great guy called Tony, just a guy who came down to Sorrento for the season to work. He just smoked all the time and what have you. So we just had a pizza and some beers there. And we're kind of licking our wounds and realizing we'd gone to the wrong bloody place for our dinner instead of going to the usual great place. When this group of 3 English girls and a big South African guy, came and sat down not far from us, and they started doing the kind of flipping game. And of course, the conversation goes, "Oh, what's the world record for that?" So of course, we're looking at world record. So we're shouting across. There's so many. So the guys who race are doing it, he must have got about 90. I think the world record's about 120 or something stupid. But they're really these were quite fat. These were quite fat beer mats he was doing it with. So his stack looked, when we looked at the world record, it looked not far off what the world record was. They were thin mats. He did like 90 eventually, and like we were all. I mean, everybody was like, "Yeah!" Anyway, long and short of it is, they then say, "You're going to come? Do you want to come clubbing with us?" And we're like, "Clubbing, really? I don't think that's a good idea." Like, "Oh, it's not really a club. It's just a kind of sort of disco kind of place." So we went off down to this place. It was a complete and utter dive, full of kind of stag and hen do's, and it wasn't great. And the guy wanted to go up and do a bit of karaoke. So I said, "Well, you're going to have to do Sweet Caroline. That'll wake the place up." She said, "Oh, what song is that?" I said, "You know it." So kind of, "Oh yeah, I know that, and I'll pick it up." So by this stage, Rachel's outside having a cigarette. she's like doing marriage counselling to all these people that have just got married who are like not particularly happy with their decision, and there's sort of wailing brides outside with kind of hair all over the place. So she's almost like the kind of Snoopy 5p kind of counsellor thing. And then I hears the beat, you know, dun, 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 dun. So, oh shit, here's it. So in it goes with the guys, go on, get yourself up on stage. Completely took over the place. Everybody's singing and jumping and what have you. Anyway, long story short, we do that. The Country Roads takes the place over that as well. And off we goes home. The place shuts. And we kind of wanders off home. No idea what time it is. I'm sort of, Jesus, it's 4 in the morning. We go back to the hotel. We were locked out. The gates were locked. Can you let us in, please? This night porter comes out and looks at us. We are actually staying here. But he's like, oh no, I'll let you in. We're thinking, Christ, I've never been locked out at home before. I got locked out of a hotel. So that was the beer mat. The beer mats for the 90. I think he did it in 96 or something. But
quite amazing. That's it. That's what happens when we're allowed to go on holiday, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's why lockdown came. I think they heard about us going away and getting locked out of a hotel.
It's strange, isn't it? You know, you think, and it seems that long ago since we've,
I know,
been anywhere. You know.
So where's your next holiday going to be? When you're allowed to go, what's your first destination?
Well, it's hopefully with my dear wife, you know. So that's the plan anyway, you know. So hopefully we'll go somewhere just for a couple of days, even, you know. But we'll need to take the dog with us, you know, because the dog's he's.
You rescued a dog, didn't you?
Aye, that's Troy.
Yeah.
That's Troy's. He's quite nervous, you know, and he's. So yeah, we used to have 2 of them, but we'll get 1 now, and he's quite, you know, he's a mummy's boy, so he's a great boy. So we'll probably need to go somewhere and take him with us. So that slightly complicates it a little bit, but I'm quite sure.
Yes, it does indeed. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll get.
I think we have seen, and I think I might have read this. I think at the start of lockdown or in between lockdowns when we were allowed to travel again, that the percentage of hotels allowing dogs or being more dog friendly has just rocketed because people are staying in the country. They're not, so they want to take rather than put it to a kennel while they go to Ibiza or something like that. They want to stay in the country and take the dogs, and a lot of places are being more open to dogs coming in. So you might not have as much of a difficulty as you think.
It'd be nice. I think it would be nice. And as you say, you know, if I do it right, as David says there, you know, maybe I could go somewhere where there's a few distilleries. So that would
space right. Yeah, absolutely. Aberlour's lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, so that would be good. That would be good.
We'll have to get you on the Highland Academy. Get you on the Whiskey Academy. It's all accommodation. It's dog friendly. You know, you'll be sorry.
All week drinking whiskey. Maybe that won't go down so well with the wife, perhaps.
No.
Yeah. There's a hot tub. There's a hot tub at the accommodation. You can. She's straight on the.
Caught. That's caught. Right.
Listen, Shelley, you'd love Aberlour. Aberlour is beautiful. All joking aside, it is very nice. The Downs Hotel. Get Ian to take you to the Downs for a slap-up meal.
There you go. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's as you say, you know, you've really got to get away and do something. And you know, funnily enough, I was at, and Shelley will tell you, you know, I was obviously, it was Glen Scotia for me all the time, as Glen Scotia work. But now, after the last couple of years, absolutely, you know, still work. But there's an element in me that is, you know, is really, you know, want to go somewhere, you know, want to just take off, you know. So
absolutely.
So I don't know.
She's telling you now to get it booked, McAlister.
Get it booked. Get it booked. There we go. There's no escaping now. That's it. I'm caught. So, but no, it's good. It's good. And I think everyone else is the same, aren't they? You know, the whole country, I think, is obviously, you know, looking to get out and do things. And it'd be quite interesting to see whether, do you think we'll go back to the same old routine? Do you think we'll obviously
It's tough to know.
Head overseas.
I think in terms of, I certainly think in terms of the working life, things will be different. I think there'll be a lot of offices will downsize the office and they'll do the work from home. I think, save money on these big buildings and things like that. But in terms of I think, I don't know, maybe the first year or so, people will be desperate to get away. There might be and come into the country as well. I think there's a lot of people, guys like Tobias, who's watching and get, who'd come to Scotland every year for a wee whiskey pilgrimage, haven't had the chance to do that, and they're missing that. Yeah, it's all very well being online and doing it on Zoom and getting tasting packs sent out and things, but they want to see new distilleries and speak to guys like yourselves and that kind of stuff. So, I think hopefully, touch wood, this summer we'll see a big influx of people coming in.
I think so.
It might not go the other way where people are leaving and going out. A lot of people have used the excuse used it as an excuse to see more of what's on their doorstep.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that's good. It really is good. Because we have got a lot to see, and I'm one of those. I'm guilty. I'm totally guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not really, I guess, because I never went anywhere. So it's not point abroad. That's Shelley. So yeah, but I think there's more potential to obviously, to see what we've got here, and make the most of it. I think that's, that is the way to go. And obviously the way whiskey is, as you say, I think, guys and girls that's coming in from all over the world, they want the blended approach. They want to obviously talk to you online, Zoom tastings, but they want to come to the distillery too. Wherever that distillery is, they want to visit. So yeah, it's good. It is good. I think it really is good. So I see Russell's got the link on there. So
you're done. That's it. Yeah.
Shelley's already clicked on the link and she's
Ian,
booking it.
You'll thank me for it, Ian. You will.
That's it. I've never been up your way. Really.
You could actually walk to Aberlour, Glenallachie, and then just hitch a lift up to Glenfarclas, and that's your day sorted.
Oh right, I could go and visit Callum. I know Callum, so yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
it looks lush.
It
certainly does look lush, Shelley. Yeah.
Oh, this has been a bad night, boys, isn't it?
It's been an expensive night for you, Ian.
I guess I'll do fishing on the Spee as well.
Well, that's it. No, that's it. That's what it's all about. As I say, I'm really looking forward to it. I've got a wee go down to Southport, the guys down there, and start of February. So I'm quite looking forward to that, because that's the first time I've actually really went anywhere, whiskey related. So yeah, it'd be quite good.
So is that Whiskey Festival then? The Southport Whiskey Festival that's on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's upside Liverpool, is that right?
It's yes, I think
that direction, yeah.
It's right on the coast, isn't it? It's on the coast.
Yeah, that's right, guys. So yeah, that'll be something different, So I'm quite looking forward to that. As again, some of the guys down there, so it'd be good to go and do something, and just go somewhere. As I say, you've really got to.
Taking a break's important, not just working all the time. It's hugely important to have a proper break. And
yeah, absolutely, guys. But no, it's, as I say, it's been good. It really has been a wonderful year, considering the type of year it's been. So as I say, we'll just see how the next year goes. Hopefully, we'll get the festival this year in the town, and I think that's going to head. I think, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So
we'll have to try and get down for that.
Absolutely.
David Muir's giving us a lift, mate. We're sorted.
He's giving us a lift.
Yeah, he's taking us down. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant!
Loads of boot space. Loads of boot space in the Jag for all our
driving there and driving back.
All our festival bottles. Loads of room in the space in the Jag. Yeah.
That's result.
Sorted.
Yeah. Cheers, David. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you to offer your services there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My goodness.
And, I was lucky enough to be at the festival while I was on the Springbank School, the whiskey school, in 2017, and the week that I was there was the week of the festival, and what an absolute great weekend it was. Just superb.
Aye, it is. You know, that would be with Frank, wasn't it? Frank at that time.
Yeah. Because we got to tour around Glen Scotia with Frank. He took us round, and you were discussing Russell when you're driving through Speyside. You're like, oh, there's Baltimore and there's Rusk and there's, and it was like that when you're walking through. You're doing the walkthrough tour of Campbellton, but there was Long Row, and that was
there was.
and this was
That used to be Hazelburn. Yeah. That bus depot. What was the bus depot again? Is that Ben Nevis or something? Was the bus depot?
Benmore.
Yeah.
That's right. Aye.
I took home a mallet, actually, an old kind of steel-headed mallet that I found in one of the old distilleries.
You took home?
I took it home, yeah.
Purloined. Ian's been looking for that mallet for 4 years.
That's what it was.
It was definitely wasn't one in use anyway. I'll give it to you. You can make one of those big dents in your still.
That's it. That's the very one. That's the very one.
Yeah.
It is amazing, you know. It's amazing, you know, that when you do walk around the town, you know, and you do see with it, and as you say, a lot of the places, you know, are totally gone. You know, obliterated really through the years. But yeah, there is elements still there, you know, and it's amazing what turns up in the local community. You know, bits and pieces of the old distilleries. You know, it could be actually it was Benmore. You know, it was a Benmore barrel stencil that I got.
Okay.
You know, that's obviously been used for that would be probably last used in the 1920s. So
it's pushing 100 years anyway, isn't it?
So it's quite remarkable. You know, it really is remarkable. And obviously, as I say, you know, Campbelltown itself, you know, there's a wee bit of renaissance going on. You know, there's a really renewed interest in distilleries in Campbelltown, and you know what Campbelltown's got to offer. So it'll be good to see, you know, what's on the horizon, and you know what develops, you know, with the different distillers.
Definitely.
So it's good. It only enhances the industry, guys. So it's good.
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
We've got somebody watching from Southport. Alan Steen's on saying that's his neck of the woods, so he'll be at the festival. So you'll have to make sure you say hello to Ian when you're there.
See you there, Alan. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's good. It's good. As I say, it's good. I love getting out and about and, you know, and seeing folk, because it's been that long since I've, you know, get a chance to do it. You know, it's good. So I'll need to come up. I will need to pay you a visit. I need to come up.
Oh, good, yeah.
I mean, absolutely.
Give us plenty of warning so we can do some time off.
Absolutely.
We'll give him a request in for a shift off. or at least just be your tour guide.
Oh, that's it. That's it. As I say, it's fantastic.
Tobias is asking if Russell and me and you are going down to Campbellton. I'm going to take that as an invite, and I think we should definitely go down. Certainly to Campbellton. I'm not sure about Isla.
For sure.
Isla's we're allowed back on the island yet, but we'll certainly be at Campbellton.
Isla's really, really big. You know, it gets really, really busy. Campbellton's starting to pick up too. You know, really is. You know, it's incognito. That's it.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the one. Yeah. So I want to pour another whiskey, but I don't want to touch any of these Glen Scotias again, because we really want to put these.
Because you've got to be sharing them.
I know. So I'm going to go and grab one. Listen, guys just talk amongst yourselves.
Just wait till you've had 2 or 3. You'll be pouring them like you wouldn't believe.
That's it. That's the danger. That's the danger. No, it's as I say, good. Oh, it's that Glenallachie, is it?
No, it's the Kilhoman.
Oh, right.
So go for an extra bit of smoke.
Oh, right. Aye, good.
So this is the Founders Cask from this year. Was selected by, which one was it? James Rolls selected this sherry casks.
That
looks lovely. That looks beautiful.
It's a nice dram, Kilhoman. Actually, it is a really nice dram.
And I take it do you give out tasting packs to the, you know, obviously the guys? If you're doing tastings of that, you just send out different
Yeah.
whiskies. But aye.
Yeah, so we do hybrid taste, what we're calling the hybrid tasting. So we have room in the shop for up to 12. At the moment, we're kind of sticking to about 8, just to get the distance and the things. But so they come into the shop, and then we send out maybe about, depending on how, 20, maybe 18 packs out. So basically a full bottle gets used, and then they go up on the screen, the telly in the tasting room. We set up the camera and things. So we've had quite a few of them that have been really successful, and people can join from home or come into the shop. So it's been good.
Yeah. Well, we've been limited, but I guess we're going to be able to, as things kind of settle down a bit, we're going to be able to have more people in the shop. And there's a few people saying that they want to come out, but obviously we've got a lot of customers that aren't from our area now. That have, during lockdown, all our tastings were virtual, so we met so many people from across the country. I used to switch on we did a lot of sort of private parties and stuff last Christmas, and you would know you were doing gin, you would know you were doing whiskey, and you would have a rough idea of the group. But you would switch on the screen, and I would automatically assume everybody was from Aberdeenshire. So I'd open up with well, Footlight folks, and everybody would just look blank at you, and you're like, okay, so where are you guys all from? Like, Manchester. You're like, all right, okay, so nobody from Aberdeenshire, nobody from Scotland, mate. Okay, cool. So that's fine. I will try and speak my best English tonight then. So we met so many friends from across the whole of the UK and from abroad that we don't want to exclude them from the tastings. If they want to join in, somebody like yourself, people are going to go, oh, I want to be part of that. But I'm now, I live in, well, even if you live in Aberdeen, it's a bit of a job to get out to Inverurie, and I want to be on the tasting. So if we've still got some of the tickets virtual, then people can still take part, and obviously our local guys can come into the store, and by that stage, if you're there or the brand ambassador's there or whatever, then they get to do the face to face, which is more like Indian. When my Welsh is like Indian, but, I never said I was an impersonator, David. I'm just the driver.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not even the guys from far away. It's so two of our biggest, I was going to say biggest customers. They are literally one of them's 5 miles out of Inverurie, but it's so much easier for him to get a tasting pack. He works in Inverurie, picks it up, he takes it home, joins in. Otherwise, it's 15 quid in the taxi each way. Yeah, so that jumps it from £25-30 to £60. So. And that's the kind of feedback we've been getting quite a lot from the virtual side of things. Is people are happy to sit at home and join in and watch. They get the same drams. I think they missed the banter a little bit. The kind of in-store kind of banter, but especially if it's on a Thursday night or something, I think the idea of staying at home, you have your 5 or your 6 drams and that's it, rather than a couple of pints beforehand, your taxi or your babysitter, or it actually mounts up to.
Yeah.
What we are selling as a £30 ticket, it could be £60-70 for somebody. And it's a lot of money for some people.
A lot of people hit it for a couple of pints after the tasting as well, so it makes it inexpensive.
Yeah.
Aye, it does. It does. As you say, I think a lot of people that are quite, they're quite settled with that, and it's and that's good. That's good. At least there's a solution to obviously the problem, because obviously you couldn't go to places, you couldn't come visit you couldn't go to the shop, whatever. So it's good that obviously that. That
I think it's going to stay. It's certainly something that will stay. The hybrid or the virtual in some degree. It's going to. I hope it doesn't stay to the degree that it has. To be honest, because I like the in-house and I like people being there and shaking hands and clinking glasses and all that. But I certainly think there's a place for it.
Aye, definitely. As you say, blended. It's a hybrid. That's what you need, because there's no excuse now. You can do something. You can obviously turn up. It's not a case I can't quite make that. Because I can't get X because So, but it's good. It really is good. As I say, it's it's a future, and I think that's whiskey. The beauty of whiskey, you know, it always finds its way, you know, and it will always find its own level.
Yeah. It's
Because
the customers, they're determined, aren't they? They're not going to miss their whiskey.
no, it's passionate, you know, and it's the passion that obviously drives it on. You know, it really drives it on, and it gives it that, you know, that wonderful take on it all the time. So it's to say, yeah, never stuck, which is fantastic. So,
Oh, Tobias, there's no need for that. He's just opened a peated rum cask.
oh wow, there you go.
Didn't I say earlier when I wasn't drinking tonight? I don't really need to hear that kind of stuff.
That was a low blow, wasn't it?
That was very low.
Yeah. We were doing a tasting at a sampling on Tuesday for a potential next shop exclusive. Me and Ross were both pretty gutted that they hadn't drawn a cask from a rum bar on it. We're like, we really want to do a rum, but we've got a fantastic lineup of selection that we can pick from. So.
Well, that's it, you know, and that's the beauty of it, isn't it? You know, you just so many, you know, variations, and yeah, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. That's what it's all about. It really is. It's fantastic to see.
Tobias is just asking. So just to say, Tobias is just asking about the peated barley, where you get that from. I think we covered that at the start. Was it Montrose that you?
Yeah, absolutely. So the peated cell will come from slightly further north. That's going to be more up you know, Grampian, up that kind of Aberdeenshire.
Tobias, you missed that when you were digging out your peated rum cask. That's what you must have been doing.
Yes. Yes, it was. That's a collector's item now, you know. So.
Well, there's another part of the world to be visiting, Ian, because Alan Moyer's in Lossiemouth. I mean, Lossie's pretty much sunny all the time, and in the summer it can be unbelievably hot in Lossiemouth. I think they call
my honeymoon. I was meant to do 3 weeks in Australia and New Zealand, and ended up spending 3 days in Lossiemouth, and I wouldn't have changed it for the world. What an absolutely fantastic switch.
I think they call the football ground there is it the Bernabeu or the San Siro or something. Alan, you can remind me, but it's either Spanish or Italian at the stadium's kind of called after. Like, not really. I think it's called like Central Park or something. Or but yeah, they call it the kind of San Siro or the Bernabeu.
It's just that sunny. Again, you know, I've never ever been up that far, and it would be great to.
The Murray Coast is absolutely spectacular. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I think this is not going to be a 2-3 day holiday you're booking.
No.
I need a few hotels at this rate. You know, a few links.
I can put a few more links in.
Going right round the coast, you end up going right round the West Coast,
the North Coast 500. Yeah.
That's it. My goodness. It's actually no. I grew up with a guy who's up there. He's in Lochinver, so he's a fishery officer up there.
Gosh, that's a way up the West Coast.
Aye, that's a way up. So, so yeah, it would be, it'd be quite good. You know, as I say, I've got a wild notion to obviously, you know, just go a wee wander. You know, and Shelley's the same. So go a wee dander about and see what's what. You know, as
absolutely.
Sounds brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But yeah, at Lossiemouth, you know, as I say, it sounds amazing, doesn't it? It sounds really appealing.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. A lot of the villages along that way have kind of suffered a little bit, but and there's a bit of deprivation and what have you. But you know, if you're looking to retire somewhere cheap, the house prices are incredibly cheap. But and I think it kind of suffers in terms of transport links. But these days, there's no such thing as a long distance. It's easy to get about anywhere because you know, cars are so easy to drive and what have you. So it's not kind of that difficult anymore at all. But the coast itself is spectacular, absolutely spectacular.
I mean, obviously you're talking about transport links. There's nowhere worse than Campbelltown.
Campbelltown, yeah.
You know, it's probably the remotest town in mainland UK, so you're obviously struggling, you know, for transport down here. And yeah, I mean, it's obviously 3.5 hours by car. You know, the bus takes about 10 days.
Would there have been a train once upon a time?
No. Well, there was
There's never a train.
There was a small railway that used to run from Campbelltown to Macrahanish. The wee train.
There was never a link. There was never a link like to the main kind of route or the no.
No. There was. I think, if memory serves me right, there was obviously talk about it when you go back 150 years or such like. But I think the Duke of Argyll at that time was against having a railway down this way.
Okay.
That's why it never ever came down this way. I don't know the exact ins and outs of that, but that sticks in my mind. That he was against that. So David's got one road in, one road out. That's it. We get a ferry. I mean, the ferry's there in the summer sometimes. So
sometimes.
Summer's there in the summer sometimes. Yeah.
That's it. It'd be good. I think, all joking aside, I think if the ferry, if you had a decent ferry link to Campbelltown, it made a huge difference. You'd be able to get over from Ardross and wherever it was coming from at that time, straight to Campbelltown, go to Arden potentially, and then over to Campbelltown.
Yeah.
So I think that would be good, and you could make a journey of it, drive, come on the car and then drive it, or do it vice versa or something like that. I think that would be really quite good to actually do it myself.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's
good. So we'll go down, we'll meet Tobias in Campbelltown, we'll go to Arran on the way home.
Absolutely. That's it. You've obviously got Lag and you've got Lachranza now in Arden. So, and Campbelltown and Islay, and say Isley's well worth a visit, as you know. So it's good. But hopefully they'll do something with the ferry. As I say, every year we'll get the ferry, it's seasonal ferry, and it never really works. It does work, credit where credit's due, but I think it would probably benefit if it was, if it was on longer term and it was there, all year round. I think that would really benefit the town.
Yeah.
So,
but He was encouraging people to get the light aircraft that's through daily, but I think you need a lot of whiskey to get on one of them.
Aye. I mean, we've got the plane. There is a plane at an airport here, and there's a plane that comes in. Yeah, daily.
I've heard about some of these light aircraft flights. I think there's one goes to Orkney from like Wick or somewhere like that, where the in-flight catering is when the pilot turns around and gives you the flask and gets you to pour a tea.
He does.
And he's got a wee bag of biscuits that he passes around as well.
That's exactly like the Campbelltown plane. The Campbelltown plane, I think it'll hold something like, I don't know, 13 in it, and it's a twin otter, so it's quite small. But the seats are like half size normal seats. So you think of your kitchen chair, it's about half that size. And I don't think of myself as overly, I'm not that big, but I'm thinking I'm sitting in this chair and I'm thinking, this is hard going, this, because you're sitting there, but you've got to kind of squeeze yourself in against the side of the plane so everyone can get on and get their seat, and it's exactly as you say, it's a co-pilot. It gives you he gives you the demonstration, it's put this over you, and he's kind of stooped down because it's small roof. This round you and wrap this round you anyway. You feel like wrapping this round you if you need it, because I'm so used to you. But no, and the worst it is when you're sitting there, you're sitting in your chair, and if your seat's strategically placed, you can see into the co-pilot and the pilot. You can see right in. You're looking at all the instruments. You're seeing how everything's going. And I can always mind many moons ago, I was coming back in the plane, and there was she was an older woman, but she was quite, she was short, she was she was the size she was, and they were basically, they were operating the plane. They were coming obviously into land, and she was working the pedals and the controls and whatever. And the pedals, I always notice, because you get to study them every time you're on, but these pedals are like something. I think it came off a bulldozer or something like that. They're heavy duty pedals. So anyway, I can always find her coming into land, and she was I was sitting there, and I was trying not to look, and I think, this is we go again, come into land. Hope this thing will land, and we're good. We're good. We can get off. And she's come into land, and she was getting slightly off her seat all the time. She was getting off the seat, and she was pushing the pedals further. I can always mind, and you could see, landing these planes, absolutely, it's incredibly intelligent people to be a pilot, but there's an element of wrestling with it too. There's an element of skill landing this plane. You could have all the instruments in the world. You could, as I say, sometimes if they fly with an instrument, sometimes they fly, visual or whatever they do. But that it's a skill. It's a skill, and I can relate to that with the guys in the distillery. It really is a skill because she was wrestling with it. That's the only way of describing it. She was wrestling with this plane with the pedals.
Exactly, you feel the confidence though.
No, and I was like that. Looking at that. It was quite remarkable, and it's not a sight you get to see that often. As the pilot wrestling with the plane, or the co-pilot wrestling with the plane. Pilot was also saying, "Hey, this."
I hope you win this fight. I hope you win this fight.
The pilot was having his fly piece at the time.
He was smoking his pipe. No, it was remarkable. I take my hat off.
David saying this broadcast comes courtesy of Campbellton Airport. Come fly with us.
No, they do remarkably well. I said, because some of the nights you see that plane coming in, and it's windy. It's windy.
Mm-hmm.
And you think,
I can imagine a Atlantic wind coming in. It could be pretty hair raising.
There's some things you really don't want to see. One of my first experiences of being in an operating theatre when I was doing my training, it was ear, nose and throat, and this poor guy was he'd had a tumour in here, so he'd literally got the whole flap here taken off, and they were then cutting round. In reality, for these guys, it was probably a fairly straightforward process because the tumour was stuck out. It wasn't sticking to too many organs. All they had to do was kind of cut around it and away with it and put everything back. But the two of them were just kind of working away and chatting away. And one guy was kind of tying off or burning while the other guy was snipping bits of tissue and stuff. And he was waiting to snip this one, and he says, "That's the such and such artery." He said, "No, it's not." He says, "It is. It's the such and such artery." He says, "It's a bit of tissue." "It's the such and such artery." He says, "It's a bit of tissue." He goes, "Oh, fine, please yourself." So he cut it, and of course, so the other guy just ties it off because I told you. And then they just carried on. Like,
wow.
Obviously, it wasn't a major artery, but it was an artery, so the blood came spurting out. But he's just like, "I told you." It was like, fuck's sake. So I tied it off and on the way.
Listen to me. Listen to what I'm telling you. Oh, I know.
It was just so matter of fact, the guy, the patient was absolutely fine.
This broadcast comes courtesy of Campbellton Hospitals.
Yeah, that's right. It's the way these skilled people. It's just that way these skilled people just operate, and it's like, something like that. For most of us would be a major crisis, and they're like, well, I told you, but so, and they just fix it.
Aye. I know it is. It's and there's a lot to be said for obviously, everyone to their profession, because it is quite remarkable. Some of the things, as you say, especially with that, Russell. You look at it and you think, God. I actually mind. There's a program on recently, and I'm really not into things like that. Really, no. But it actually engrossed me, because I'm thinking, I'm looking at it and I think it's actually impossible. What that man's trying to do there, it's impossible. But yeah, he done it. He's, as I say, the things he was going through with the operations and blah, blah, blah. It's so talented people, and it's just amazing, absolutely amazing what they can do. Amazing. But no, it's. Yeah, everyone to their own, as they say, guys.
Absolutely.
Theatre humour.
Theatre humour, yes. Well, that's it. Absolutely. You spent quite a while at that, Russell. Didn't you?
Not in the theatre. I mean, I was so when I was doing my training, you just had all the old training. These days, you don't get near another hospital. If you're doing mental health nursing, you don't get near the general hospital at all. But back when I trained, you did 13-week modules everywhere. So I did 13 weeks in care of the elderly, 13 weeks in medical. It was the coronary care unit, so lots of people with heart attacks and strokes and things like that. A lot of sad stories, a lot of work. 13 weeks in psychiatry and 13 weeks in surgical. So that was really interesting. And I said the ward I was on was an ear, nose, and throat, so their theatre was actually beside the ward. So you were admitting and discharging 8 to 9 people a day. It was a really quick throughput, and the theatre was ongoing. I think maybe 4 or 5 days a week as well. So you got to go into the theatre anytime you were you'd done your jobs and you'd a minute. You just got through and kind of scrubbed up and went in and just watched. So it was really interesting. But I mean, students these days don't get anything like that kind of experience, which is a shame. You kind of think, why would I need to see that to do psychiatry? But I think you need to see everything. You need to see every aspect of what's going on, because even though you're doing psychiatry, you may be meeting somebody who's got a PTSD, a post-traumatic stress from actually a botched operation or something. So if you don't know
the operation,
or even just the operation, if you don't know what that's like, then how can you talk them through what they've gone through?
I think that's sorry, Mike.
I was just going to say, I'm glad that we're in the industry where the biggest disaster that we face is somebody missing out on their daft mill.
Well, that's right. That's right.
It kind of puts things into context, doesn't it?
It kind of hit home for me one day, because there was a customer come in and it was pouring rain, so the poor sod was soaking, absolutely soaking wet. It was winter, and he's like, "Do you sell Harris gin?" And we're like, "Yeah, but you've got to order it online." What do you mean? Well, we're not allowed to sell it direct. So if you and he's like, "What?" I said, "Well, I'll at least do it with you. If you just got to go to the website, buy the bottle. I can't just buy it from you." I said, "Yes, but..." He went, "Oh, what a load of shite," and just stormed off out of the shop. And there was a bit of me felt really bad. I thought, "Oh, is he upset?" And it was the way to go after him. I thought, "Wait a minute, I'm not doing my old job. Fuck him. I don't care. He's just not got his gin." But there was a bit of me thinking, "Oh God, is he all right?" Because if that had happened in my old job, I'd have been, somebody stormed out of a meeting or something, you'd be off after him to make sure that everything was okay. And but I'm just thinking, he's just not got a bottle of Harris gin. I don't care.
No, exactly. No, I know. And it's exactly. And as you say, it's just things like that you don't need.
Yeah. So our biggest disaster is or dropping a bottle of what was that I dropped?
Brackla.
Yeah,
Brackla. He dropped a bottle of Brackla from the top shelf up on his steps. And you were not long in. You were about a month in, 2 months in, or something like that.
You'd be saying
I kind of caught it 3 times, and it didn't actually hit the ground with a smash. It kind of hit the ground with a thunk. So I kind of caught it under my arm, and it slipped out of there, and I caught it in my leg, and it slipped out of there, and then it went thunk, and I just looked at Mike, and I went, "Tell me that's okay," and he went, "No, it's not."
Talking of broken bottles, I'll wait until I show you this. This is a disaster.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
What happened there?
I've no idea. I was.
Is that your cognac?
That's the brandy.
The Calvados.
But it must have been broken for a while, because there's mold on the top of the liquid. But
wow.
Yeah. So the bottle, it was about full when I put it away, and something was just falling on it and splitting.
That's a bloody good Calvados. Bloody good Calvados as well.
I'll say it's my own fault for not drinking it. If I drank it all, then it wouldn't have happened. But yeah, that's a disaster as we live in the whiskey world. I know. Or in the retail whiskey world.
Well, that's it.
They're very sad.
Tragic. Absolutely tragic.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't cry over spilt milk, but by bloody hell, you do cry over spilt whiskey. Jesus.
Absolutely. I sent Andrew from Little Brown Dog. I don't know if you know Andrew Smith. And I sent him a message of it saying, "Oh, look at this," and he just replied saying, "Ah, bugger." I was hoping maybe, I'll get you another bottle or anything, but no, "Ah, bugger." Cheers, Andrew. Thank you.
Just a case of no luck, isn't it?
Yeah. As I say, it's my own fault for not drinking the damn thing.
That's brilliant. But it's intriguing to, you're thinking, how did it get like that? What caused that bottle to break? That's the thing. It's obviously something's went.
I think it was. I don't know if you can see the bottles behind me, but just down the side here, it it was in there, and it looked like a few things had just kind of fallen on top of it and been broken. But it's a corner of the room we're never look at. So what that was doing in there, I've no idea. But it was there, and hey ho, these things
It's
happen.
a complete disaster if your cork breaks and goes into your bottle, because you've got to then sieve it and drink the lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Straight away.
That's,
That happens quite a lot with me, actually.
it does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. Terrible cork makers. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man! Just know what they used to be. You know, that's. Oh no, that's
that's true, isn't it? You have to drink it within 24 hours if the cork
That's
hits
right.
the liquid. Yeah,
that's right. I
thought
heard that from Fort William. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's to be honest with you, a lot of the old corks too. You know, I mean, they're. Well, you sometimes look at them and they're in bits. You know, no, I mean, I notice even the ones I've got here, you know, the modern ones are really, you know, they're quite. Occasionally, you'll get one that'll kind of, you know, just shear from the top, you know. But other than that, they're not too bad actually.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. I was just checking. You're still using cork, aren't you? You're not under the rubber cork.
Yeah.
No, it's still
these are good ones.
I've got ones here actually. The same ones. It's just cork, you know. But an odd time you'll see it come off but very, very rarely. You know, they're quite robust, which is good.
Does anybody in the whiskey industry use nobody uses rubber corks on whiskey, do they?
No,
you couldn't.
No.
It would affect the taste, should it?
Nah, it wouldn't be good because it's obviously man-made. You know, it's.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you see that in whiskey right enough. You know, and it's always cork. I've seen it an odd time in, you know, like sample bottles or bigger sample bottles where there's a kind of rubberized, but it's only for it's more for spirit. You know, the spirit end of things. Even then, it's kind of, you know, really. I mean, even the bottles, you know, small bottles you get, you know, it's.
You can kind of forgive that. My one and only bottle of Japanese whiskey that I bought, I decided I wasn't going to like because it was a screw top.
Aye.
And I just thought that's wrong. So it doesn't matter what this tastes like. I'm not going to like it.
No.
And I didn't. So there you go. So that's that's that.
Well, that's right. You know, a screw top is very. I don't know what that is. Very 60s.
Worst Ben Nevis you've ever had.
That's wrong. Yes, it was the worst Ben Nevis I ever had. Indeed.
Well,
it wasn't a Nika. It was a Yamazaki.
Well, that's it. As I say, you know, it's I think you need the corks. You know, no way around it. You know, that's it. And it's all I think there's a certain presentation that you need, and there's certain parameters that you need. You know, and that's obviously one of them. You know,
there's a wee bit of theatre. I mean, you want the pop.
Yes.
That was and then you want the glug glug glug. You know, it's
aye.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Some of them are excellent. You know, some of the Glen Scotias, as I say, you know, I don't know how that. Yeah,
there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's it.
You get that.
Victoriana. There you go. Never let me down.
So that's what it's all about. You know, it's
the world's best whiskey.
Aye. Just that a lovely pop. Probably does it when it's newer. Once it starts to get out and in too many times. So if you
it kind of loses that tightness.
That's right. That's it. Absolutely.
I might have to drink that red wine cask sooner rather than later.
But as I say, no, it's good. It's good to see you guys.
David's obviously been breaking a few corks. That's his heavy-handedness. Well, he's a builder. Well, you're not a builder. He's a manual worker, so it's his strong hands. But there was an Anok cork that broke last week. So this week there's a Kalila 15, and now Tom until 16. But I think that's maybe yes. But at least you know that you've got to filter it and drink it straight away, David. So at least that's...
He has had the father-in-law staying with him, so I reckon the father-in-law's been in.
That's right.
He's been damaged in all these corks. That's it. It's
Alan, I like that. He said it's a bad thing having the cork. He can't sneak a dram.
That is the downside. Yeah, there is a downside to the theatre. Yeah, that's right.
You just need to go.
That's right. You got. That's it. There you go.
There's an act to it.
Just take your time. That's it. You just got to go nice and gentle. That's it. And it's perfect. Perfection, guys.
Tobias has put a wee link on for YouTube, so that's something I'm going to have to look at afterwards. Find out what that is.
Excellent. Yeah, that's it's Corks. I think it's Corks, is it? Is that what he's?
Well, hopefully.
I don't know.
Put on all your adult protectors before you actually open that link.
It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Good stuff.
Here we go. It's in German. We just watch it.
How to remove a broken cork.
Okay.
There we go.
Right. Yes. Never an easy way. Never an easy. As I say, I always mind there was one. Oh, it was actually a local guy. And it was a couple of years back, and it was an old. I think it was a Glen Scotia. Actually, it was a Glen Scotia from the kind of 70s, early 70s, and that had a cork in it. It's obviously pretty much, it went into kind of 3 bits really, but it's it can be quite disheartening when that happens.
Absolutely, yeah.
Especially from that era.
Well, guys, that's us. We're only 45 minutes over time, Ian. That's pretty good considering the last time we had you on. It was, I think it was about an hour and 45 minutes over our designated hour. I mean, for guys who've been watching last year, we don't really have a set limit as such. It's just where the conversation takes us and where we go. But I just wanted to say, just jump in before we kind of digress too much, that next week we have Nigel Large from the Gale Gin. So we've got them coming in, and the Gale has got an amazing story behind it, steeped in Scottish history. So if you want to know your Nessie from your Dougie McLean, we've got next week. We've got a great story with the gin. So the guys who've got it in the pack, you've got a wee gin in there as well. So please come back next week. Ian, just want to say thanks very much for your time tonight. We are always wary of going over because we want to keep it kind of fun and interesting for as long as we can, and it's sober as well. It's probably one of the defining
I've managed that by default tonight, but
Russell doesn't have that problem.
I'm sure that won't happen every week.
Yeah, I mean, I remember we were looking back at some of the events we had last with yourself, Ian Fortiz, the week after, and you're looking back and the eyes are glazed and you're like, oh my god! I was like, we were actually live doing that. So we're trying to keep the sensible head on.
Who was it? Was it Leary the Glen that actually took the record in the end, and it was actually a concerted effort?
No, it was Ardnamurchy, Adelphi and Ardnamurchy.
What was Adelphi?
The last one.
Because even Connell wasn't well. Even he came on to kind of push it over the time limit to win the the longest Blether.
We had so Connell was going to be on, but he wasn't feeling well. So we've got Graham Mackay, and so I had a great chat with him. And then all of a sudden, Connell's down in the wee box at the bottom. He's like, he's here, and I was like, Connell, hello. And he's like, yeah, I was watching. I thought, I'm just going to come on. So we basically just did the Blether again, but with Connell involved. So it was like a double whammy. That was brilliant. It was absolutely fantastic. So I think it was like 2 hours and 45 minutes.
I think it was fantastic for us. I'm not so sure it was great for anybody listening, but hey.
No.
There was a few stuck with us, so thanks, guys. we appreciate your loyalty.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about, though. As I say, you just go where it takes you, and it's interesting. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's it's good. It really is good. And I think what you do, is quite refreshing, and it's different, and it's obviously something different. Because as much as you know your whiskey and everyone else does its own, it's sometimes good just to enjoy the whiskey and relax with whiskey, but listen to the crack, listen to the parts.
Yeah. That was the whole idea about the Blethers, was to get to know you, get to know Graham, Connell, Billy, Charlie, all these kind of guys who we see, and more often than not when we talk to you or we see you, you're in the distillery, or you're doing a tasting, you're talking about the spirit rather than yourself. So that was the whole kind of premise behind the Blether. So hopefully we're keeping that up. I think we've spoken more about Glen Scotia tonight than any other probably distillery or brand that we have done so far. But I think justifiably, because you've had a great award-winning year, and
you can't have the world champions on without talking about the world championships.
Exactly. So best whiskey in the world and best distillery. So
that's what it says.
Go.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
The world's best.
I say, it's fantastic. But yeah, as I said, it's great that I think everyone gets a shot, the limelight, if you like, and I think that's important, because it's
but it's important to embrace it as well. Don't put yourself down. Don't just wash over it. Make sure you celebrate it.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's remarkable. It's been a remarkable journey. It really has, and it's one that I'll never repeat anyway. So yeah, it's good. It really is good. So yeah,
we'll revisit that next year when the trophies have been handed out again.
No pressure. That's it. My goodness. Aye. Goodness. No.
World domination next. That's the next project.
Do it's funny too. I had that sneaky suspicion. I just felt, and I'm not usually that in tune with my myself that I can sense these things, but I really had a feeling about the distillery of the year, in Glasgow. So it's funny, it's just and it worked, which was quite amazing. So yeah. As I say, wonderful. It really
congratulations again on a great year. So well done, Iain.
Congratulations, Walter, but it'll be I've just got a third. I've got a third of the product here, so
that's a new make spirit.
That's right. It's part of it. Yeah.
Exactly. No, it's brilliant, guys.
Congratulations, Iain. Fantastic.
Guys.
Thank you. And
so thanks very much, guys, for watching. Iain, absolute pleasure again. Always good fun. Pity we didn't have you in the red suit, but maybe next year.
Yes,
maybe this year, maybe.
Absolutely. I've kept the beard too. So.
Yeah,
exactly. So David, Tobias, Alan, Phil, everyone else who's been watching, thank you very much. If you're just tuning in or you're a little bit late, you can find us all on our YouTube channel as well. So just go onto YouTube and type in Inverurie Whiskey Shop or A Blether With, and you should find all the recordings there. And that goes back all the way. You can watch Ian's first one if you've got time, if you've got a spare evening and a half. And everyone else we've talked to are all on there. So thanks very much, and hopefully we'll see you next week at 7 o'clock for a chat with Nigel from the Gale, if we don't see you beforehand. But thanks very much, guys, and
cheers.
Good night.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.